how do you manage your time and how do you get the best out of resources? So there are 4 things I'm going to talk to you about here. And these are proven techniques in the program that just work every time. But I get to answer this question more often than I care to measure. The first one is time value for money. How do you value your time? So there's a number of different methodologies, but there's a very famous pyramid here where what we can do is we can talk about what are our critical actions that we need to record and take effective and immediate action on. The second level are our must-haves. These are our maintenance, the things that just have to happen every day. We must get rid of those quickly in order to get onto what is our third level, which is our strategic priorities. Now notice, our strategic priorities are third in the pyramid. And then the fourth level are new ideas that we might action. So there's a valuation here because what we're saying is that if it's critical, it gets our attention. The goal is to shrink the must-haves, the things that we consider to be automated or things that don't demand our attention or things that we can delegate. The idea is to bring them out and below, back into the ideas or out of the pyramid at all. So that's what we call the time value for money or time value analysis. The second area I want to talk to you about is just how do we prioritize ideas? So there's a number of different schools of thought, but we get thousands of ideas. We get 70,000 thoughts a day and somewhere around 42,000 ideas. That means we're not even conscious of an idea always when it comes into our mind. So I'm famous for lists. I write lots and lots of lists. But what I've learned is that my list will be hundreds of thousands long if I'm not careful. So there are a couple of things we can do. First of all, I operate a 3-part framework. If I have a broken idea or I have an incomplete idea, I disregard it. I try my best to just say my mind does not have to process it straight away. If I have a good idea, but it might not be well timed, and what I mean by that is it may have a more definable scope, but it might immediately appear complex, or the timing or the resources aren't apparent to me of why I would pursue that idea, or the value is not refined enough, and so it's a good idea. I commit that to paper and I categorize it and I say, it's a good idea. I have another old saying, and that's that no good idea goes unnoticed. So I will put it down on paper and keep it for something that I'll reflect on later on. And then the third area, and this is important, is where I say, this is a great idea and it's well timed. That means I can define it. It's immediately relevant. I need the value. I know how to implement it and it must happen now. Those are the ideas we pursue straight away. By the way, those ideas in the time value for money pyramid means that they go from strategic priorities as critical actions. So having this idea, an idea of how to process ideas in our mind is really important. The third area is focus. I talk about this a lot. There are lots of lists in terms of how do you remove distractions? How do you best live the best version of your life so that when you get up, you're ready to go for your best goal? There are a few things, and these things are not necessarily about entrepreneurship. They're about human productivity. So we need a certain amount of sleep. We need to try a routine that works for us. We need to determine when's the right time to make quality decisions in the day, i.e. what's our most effective time. We need to watch our diet and look at things that ultimately spike our energy. So for me personally, I have to have 8 hours sleep. I watch my level of caffeine intake. Another thing is that I don't do well with white noise. Some people work effectively with white noise. So I make sure that there's simplicity in my environment of where I'm going to be productive. I make sure I'm free from distractions. The smartphone has become an incredible distraction. So I turn off most of my notifications and I make sure that if I'm not taking calls, the phone is not near where I work. So these are they sound like very simple practices. Right? I challenge you to write down ways that can free you from all these distractions so that you can focus better. And then what helps your routine to become more effective. And then the fourth area is a completely different area. If you've done those 3 things, you've provided yourself an opportunity to be extremely productive in your focus and in the way you prioritize ideas and the way you manage your own time. Now we can focus on how we get the best out of resources. Here's the secret. We apply this approach to people that we hire in the organization. We look for them to be the best versions of themselves and to find their way of ultimately being productive. There are many other things that get in the way of making productive decisions, but the first one is to make sure that they are being really productive. If we can find a match, we're going to be able to use our optimal time and their optimal time in order to move the business forward.